How's it going? I'm McNeil coming to you from the garage, and today I am working on a couple of hands. These are the hands that are available with the Raoul display that I just started making. And I just wanted to talk real quick about how I was doing these because I did something a little maybe interesting to you guys. The first hand or two that I did when I was trying to figure out exactly what the angle should be and all of that, I printed I found a model of a actual skeleton hand. It was an MRI scan, and then I posed the bones so that it was be in this sort of gross, creepy kind of beckoning sort of attitude. And the first couple of these that I did, what I did was it's an old corpsing technique where you take plastic wrap or plastic bags or painter sheets, those drop cloths, and you put them on whatever it is that you're corpsing, and you get a heat gun and you heat it up, and what it does is it melts the plastic and it clings to whatever's below it. So if you were gonna corpse out an entire skeleton or something like that, you would wrap it with something like this plastic sheeting, or you could even use a black trash bag, and I did both on the first couple tests that I did here, and it worked out fine. It worked out great, and then I coated it with latex, and then I ended up painting them up. And then I thought, one of the things that I've been contemplating was giving plastic molds a shot. And what would it be like if I were to make a plastic mold and put some latex in it? Because we all know that latex cures best in a stone mold. And I've seen some guys that have been doing plastic molds successfully. And I had even talked to a couple of those guys a few months ago because if I could figure out how to make plastic molds, man, that would save my back, and you get infinite detail that doesn't wash away over more than a few pulls from a mold, all of that stuff. There's a lot of benefits to it, but the downside is casting stuff in a plastic mold. So what I figured would be kind of cool would be, since this is a small part, and it's a hand, I went on to one of the 3D maker sites, and I bought a female 3D hand model. And so then what I did was in my 3D program, I made a block, a digital block. I put the hand inside of it, and I subtracted the hand from inside of that block. So basically what I was doing was taking a hand positive, digital hand positive, putting it inside basically a cube or a rectangle, and subtracting it from the inside of that cube. And then what I did is I sliced that cube in half, which gave me these guys. So I have a two-part mold that has a hand negative in it, and it's actually pretty good. The detail would be better had I done this in resin and not in a filament, but the reality is, because of these hands and the way that they are, I figured that it made a lot more sense just to give it the old college try with the filament printer, because the resin is messy, blah, blah, blah. And I just wanted to give it a day in court and see what it would do. And you can see the wrinkles and stuff. It's actually pretty good. This one ended up with a hole in it, but it didn't matter because of what I was going to do. I'm tearing holes in it anyway, right? You look in there and there you can see some fingernails. And anyway, the two pieces fit together, but the reality is I didn't really need to put it together and cast it as a seamless one-piece hand. I just needed skin, right? And the best part was the skin. Now I can paint in here, and it will give me, a top of the hand and a bottom of the hand, and then I could just kind of like squish it all together and glue it all together and kind of mash it up and make some skin. But what was cool about it is it was already cut in the size and the shape of the hands that I was already making. So it allowed me to take that skin, glue it on top. As you can see, latex it on top. Actually, I tack it down with super glue first, and then I go back and add latex and And I even coat it with my new favorite thing, which is that clear Gorilla Glue mixed with some paint to give it a little bit of color depth. And yeah, there you go. Then you go back and you rub some holes in it so that you get some exposed bones. You know, you can see some depth in there. You know, you look inside the hand and all of that cool stuff. And what I'll do is I'll take these and I'll put some of that burlap that I'm using to make the hoods for these guys. And I'll make just a little bit of a sleeve. And I'll glue that sleeve down to this base, right? I'll glue it all the way around so that this hand you can set on your table in front of your Raoul, and it looks like he's sort of, you know, calling you over, beckoning you like he did in the first scene of Creepshow. So there you go. I just thought it was a neat use of a 3D printer. I printed a 2-part mold. First time I've ever printed a mold and run latex in it. But because I did it open-faced, I didn't have any problems at all with it drying because I just put a fan on it and it worked out great. So, you know, I'll continue to experiment with like this whole concept of plastic mold stuff because I do feel like that if I could figure out a really good workflow for that, that maybe the headache, quote unquote headache, that using a plastic mold, I just feel like that the headache might be worth it. And I don't mean headache in a bad way, but you know what I'm saying, the extra work or the different workflow or figuring it out. Just the challenge ultimately is, can you get a thick enough pull out of this without stone leaching away the water? And will it ever cure in the bottom of one of those molds without, I think you probably have to paint it in one layer at a time and dry the layers as you go. But anyway, I'm still playing around, trying to figure stuff out, and this is the method that I'm using on these corpsed out hands, and I think they're coming out pretty cool. There you go. All right, Raoul's hands. Latex skin out of a plastic mold on top of a 3D printed skeleton hand. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Talk to you soon.